Christmas market in eastern Germany, an event that could impact security measures at holiday events around the world. The NYPD just announced that it will deploy additional resources in New York City out of an abundance of caution. In Germany, at least 2 people are dead and dozens injured after a suspect plowed a vehicle through a crowd. Video from the scene shows first responders and police swarming to the area. The driver's in custody, and we are learning new information about the suspect. It happened in Magdeburg, a city of about 240,000 people, roughly 100 miles southwest of Berlin. Today's attack came 8 years and a day after a man drove a truck through a Christmas market in Berlin, killing 12 people. And ISIS claimed responsibility. CBS's Elaine Cobb leads us off with the details on today's attack.
A trail of death and destruction in Germany as a car plowed into a crowded Christmas market in the town of Magdeburg. At least 2 people are dead, one of them a small child. Emergency services rushed to help the injured, at least 60 people, authorities say. Hospitals in Magdeburg and neighboring cities have cleared beds for an influx of seriously wounded people. Police arrested the driver on the scene. His motivation is still unconfirmed. We have caught the perpetrator, said the Premier of Saxony-Anhalt. He is a doctor from Saudi Arabia who has been working here and has been in Germany since 2006. German officials had warned people to be vigilant at Christmas markets, which are popular for holiday gift shopping and family outings. And it's 8 years, almost to the day, since a terror attack on the Berlin Christmas market, which left 12 people dead. German police believe the suspect acted alone, and they suspect he had an explosive device in the car. Margaret?
Elaine Cobb, thank you. Well, now to this breaking news from Capitol Hill. The House voted a short time ago to approve a stopgap plan to fund the government until mid-March. It appears a partial government shutdown will be averted. But what does this indicate about how hard it will be for Republicans to govern after President-elect Donald Trump takes office next month? CBS's Nicole Killian has the late developments from Capitol Hill.
With hours to go,
'twas 5 days before Christmas, and all through this House, not a lawmaker was resting, not even their spouse.
the House rushed through another plan to keep the government open before midnight deadline.
This is a good outcome for the country. I think he certainly is happy about this outcome as well.
The latest version would extend government funding through mid-March, retain more than $100 billion in disaster aid, and keep $10 billion in economic assistance for farmers.
I would hope soon. Christmas is right around the corner, right? We know 2 things are happening. We're going to make a decision, and Santa's coming.
But it no longer includes a key provision pushed by President-elect Donald Trump to suspend the debt limit, which would have provided more leeway for his agenda by giving the U.S. more borrowing authority.
Have you briefed the president-elect, yes or no, on this plan?
The president's very interested in how his administration will start in January, so we want him to be on a footing for success.
Earlier, the president-elect said if there is going to be a shutdown of government, let it begin now, under the Biden administration. The White House fired back.
That Republicans blew up this deal. They did. And they need to fix this, period.
In the event of a shutdown, hundreds of thousands of federal workers could be furloughed. Essential employees like active duty military and federal law enforcement would be forced to work without pay, and national parks and museums would close. But mail would still be delivered, Social Security checks would still go out, and the upcoming inaugural ceremony would proceed as planned.
So we have been following the deliberations.
For Ted Kendall, a fifth-generation farmer from Bolton, Mississippi, who's counting on additional farm aid, his livelihood is on the line.
We need this assistance in farm country. If we don't get some help, a lot of farmers are not going to be able to survive.
The last government shutdown was back in 2019. It lasted more than a month and cost the U.S. economy roughly $11 billion. Tonight's vote comes as lawmakers are set to recess for the holidays. Margaret?
And perhaps narrowly avoiding one. Thank you very much, Nicole Killian. A record number of Americans are expected to be on the move over the holidays. AAA estimates Nearly 120 million people will pack the nation's airports and highways between now and New Year's Day. Our senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve has everything you need to know about the holiday rush.
Tonight, dreams of trouble-free travels dance in the heads of flyers from coast to coast as an estimated 2.8 million deck the halls of the nation's airports. The airlines are expecting record crowds, leading to these long lines at Seattle's airport starting around 3:30 this morning.
That was definitely the busiest I've ever seen any airport.
Anne-Marie Steinebrand missed her flight to Orlando last night after getting stuck in an airport traffic jam.
How frustrating is that you're sitting at the airport, but you can't get to the terminal?
Super frustrating, and it's just like watching the minutes tick down. I was crying at the desk, the poor gate agent.
This guy's not gonna make it.
And millions more are watching the weather. Snow and frigid temperatures mean treacherous driving in parts of the Midwest and Northeast, and it's also delaying thousands of flights.
We left our house around like 9 exactly, and so it was supposed to be like a 30-minute trip, but it turned into an hour.
AAA expects Sunday will be the busiest on the roads, just as the East Coast is hit with an Arctic blast. An estimated 107 million will be driving for the holidays.
Sunday and the Friday after Christmas are also expected to be very, very busy at the airports, but the travel rush runs all the way through Monday, January 6th. Margaret?
And we know you'll be tracking it all. Chris Van Cleve in Phoenix. Well, major airports in the Northeast could be impacted by bad weather tonight. Winter weather advisories are in effect from the Great Lakes into the Mid-Atlantic region. Meteorologist Rob Marciano is tracking it all. Good evening to you, Rob.
Good evening, Margaret. No doubt they were de-icing planes across the Northeast. There was a snow globe at times with the snow coming down hard, accumulated on the grass. But the roads were mostly okay. This was supposed to be a fast clipper system, but it kind of got some juice from the ocean, a coastal low developing in the radar. You can see still very active. Matter of fact, that'll continue to fill in overnight tonight, especially across eastern New England, Boston, eastern Mass. You may wake up to 2 to 4 inches of snowfall there, and then it all clears out. The winds are going to pick up tomorrow afternoon for everybody in the Northeast, and wind chills Sunday morning will be in the teens, single digits, even below freezing, and through parts of New England. Warming up a little bit heading into Christmas Eve. That's a problem on both coasts. Strong system coming into the West Coast, and that traverses the country. Also in the southern plains, up the Northeast, rain, and another wet snow event here in the Northeast come Christmas Eve. Reminder, tomorrow is the winter solstice, so it's the shortest day of the year. Also the coldest so far this year for a lot. Margaret?
Stay warm, Rob. Thank you. Now we'll go overseas to Syria, where today the top U.S. official in charge of freeing Americans held overseas visited Damascus for the first time since the fall of the Assad regime. Roger Carstens is leading the search for answers about Austin Tice, a Marine veteran and American journalist who vanished in Syria more than 12 years ago. We spoke with Carstens in an exclusive interview for this Sunday's Face the Nation. You told reporters that you were amazed at the number of secret prisons that Bashar al-Assad had, more than 40 of them. Have those prisons been searched yet, and do you know if journalist Austin Tice was held in them?
So it's not going to shock me to find out that there are prisons that have yet to be discovered and searched. I would say if I'm stunned by anything, it's just the amount of prisons. I mean, you'd almost think that if you were running a country and you wanted to jail your enemies, you'd have one prison and it wouldn't be secret. But to have like 35 or 40 secret prisons, I find that just horrifying, disturbing, and yet in a way fascinating.
Ahmed al-Shara, the head of HTS, his group and he himself are still technically designated as terrorists under U.S. law because of prior affiliation with al-Qaeda. Do you trust that they are being helpful to the U.S. now?
Today, we conducted a joint search of a facility that we all thought would have some sort of relation to Austin Tice. So I understand, of course, their past. What I can tell you is that right now they're being helpful in the search for Austin.
So you conducted a joint search with HTS of a prison today. Did you believe that that is where Austin was being held?
You know, Margaret, we had a lot of information over the last 12 years that pointed to a variety of facilities. And in necking that down over 12 years, we came up with a priority list of about 6 sites. And of those 6 sites, we felt that this had the highest probability of having held Austin at one time.
And you can see more of our interview this Sunday on Face the Nation. Austin.